Hello, good people. Good morning. I'm surprised. Oh, you are surprised. Oh, you are surprised. Okay, so is Dominic not around? That's the obvious question, right? He's around, and we also have somebody around. Have you ever heard the proverb, two is a company, three is a crowd? This time around, there's three of us in the studio. It's a Monday morning. My name is Maxine. It's always a pleasure coming your way. It's Random Sauce with Maxine. This morning, I don't get to be introduced because Dominic is multitasking and I get to sit in the hot seat. It's okay. It's fine. I'm learning on the job. And it's always good connecting with you. Today is a Monday. How was your weekend? Do you mind telling us? Are we connected? Please stay connected with us. We are live on YouTube. We are live on radio. And just connect with us so that together we can do this. It's Random Thought with Maxine. Today has something interesting up my sleeve. I'll let you know in a bit. We'll be right back. Hey. So we're welcome back. We're back. How was your weekend? No answers yet. Okay, so I'll tell you about my weekend. Saturday was packed. I had to attend a wedding at Kuntunsi. Long journey, but it was okay with the church experience from Abeka Junction to Kuntunsi. The driver, he was just in charge. Just saying my last prayers like this. What is it with reckless driving, especially on that stretch? I was like, okay, that subject is for another day. We'll discuss that one. But this morning, I am more than blessed. You remember I said that we are three in the studio. First time that I have a guest. I've been doing this for the past 4 months, yeah. And never have I had a guest on the show. But this morning, I'm more than blessed to have a guest on the show. And this is what we do on the show. We make it better every time. So this is the beginning of bigger, better, greater things. And why do we have a guest on the show? We have a guest on the show because the title of the program is Random Thought with Maxine. Sometimes I don't get to think alone. I get to also ask other people to tell me what's on their mind. And I am more than excited to have a friend join me in the studio this morning. I will briefly introduce her. She's like a sister. And I'll tell you at the tail end of today's topic why she's a sister. Pleasure is mine to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen. I can't hear the clap, but make noise for me. None other than the beautiful Miss Cynthia Dakwa. Cynthia! Sewenye! So the Sewenye is our code. When I say Sewa, you know Sewa, So Sewa is like, I mean, we all know her Cynthia, but when we say Sewa, actually, it is our inside joke. Sewa, let's say, so Sewa is here. What is the meaning of Sewa? It's like aunt, right? Yeah. So I call her Sewa. So she's my aunt, she's my Nia, she's my Sewa, and she's my Cynthia. Sewa, Akwabo.
Yeah, Nia.
All right. So you've heard Sewa's voice. Dominic is giggling in the background. You will see her. You will see him. So you've also seen. Okay, so it's the three of us. Now, for all those who have tuned into the program for the past 4 months, you know that I love music. It's one thing that I would always opt for when I'm down. It's more or less like my way of escape when things do not go well. Because guess what? The universe has a way of throwing things at you. It gets you off track. Things that you least expected. What are they? Worries, anxiety, sickness, pain, broken hearts, all the things. Money matters. But at every point in time, I always see this. God gives us the strength to go through it. And you are probably going through something and you're thinking, wait till you hear Cynthia's story. So I stumbled on this quote. It spoke to me, and I'll share with you. Then we'll go into today's topic. For every hour of pain I have had a day of pleasure. For every moment of worry, an hour of content. So I'll take that again. For every hour of pain, I've had a day of pleasure. For every moment of worry, an hour of content. And this is by Ella Wheeler Wellcost. So that's it. We don't give up. We don't get tired. But we still move on. And this is what we do on the show. Cynthia, Akwaba Biom.
Yeah.
All right. So, Cynthia is my friend. Friend, like friend. You know how it is. I tell you that anywhere you go, be nice. So it's a small world. You don't know when your path will cross again. So undergraduate level, Cynthia was not my friend. Hello, hi. But we tried. I don't know what impression she had about me then. But I knew that even though we were not really talking much, it was just cordial. Then guess what? Life has a way of bringing people apart again. Then we just decided to go back to school. 2 no girls. In acquisition of knowledge. Then we met again in the same class. And the bond that was something small ignited again. And it became even stronger. We were learning together, chilling together, and all that. But you know how it is like. We've discussed the whole subject of friends. There are some friends that you don't constantly see. Once in a while we check up. Cynthia will watch your updates. There's a Sewenye, then I also respond. But behind the Sewenye and all that, Cynthia was going through something that I didn't know anything about. Cynthia, what were you going through? Please, Cynthia is here. So give Cynthia some time. For those watching us, you can understand. Today is a lot of emotions. Myself, I'm not too privy to a lot of the details of what she's about to share. So just like you, I'm also in the dark partially. I don't know the full story. And we have prayed. Beginning of this session, me and Dominic, we have never prayed. We pray in our head and we commit the program into the hands of God. But this morning we had to share a special prayer because for us, we know that this is going to go a long way to affect and change lives. Cynthia, what were you going through at that point?
So it's been a whole year of God's mercies.
Sharp.
About a year ago. Well, before that, about 3 years ago, I had to go through some operation, which I did.
Some operations?
Yes.
Okay.
So, going through one sickness after the other. At some point, it was like, but where is our God? Thankfully, I had very supportive family.
Okay.
Who would always stand by you, who would always encourage you. My sister is so supportive, who would pray with you. Even though she was not here, she would have to travel back to Ghana just to see that I am well.
Okay.
So last year, I always go for the October Pink Month breast screening.
Okay.
So I went for the normal routine check. But I felt a lump under my armpit.
Okay.
But when I went for the screening, they said, oh, there's nothing. I wasn't convinced. So in my office, I was jokingly, I said, me call you, I'm your man who she. And so maybe I'm on your papa. So I went again. Then I went to Kolebu. Because I said, well, me get sure someone more and I train you.
Okay.
So, but
so you're not convinced?
I was not convinced.
Okay.
So I went to Kolebu. I was screened and they said there was nothing. Then, even though I was not convinced, I was like, well, Kolebu was say. So then a doctor called me. I think he noticed that I wasn't convinced.
Okay.
So he said, what's the problem? Then I told him. He examined me again. And he asked me to go and do a mammogram.
Okay.
So I did a mammogram twice. I was asked to come to some place at La Paz. So I did it. I did it actually twice. They
okay.
Said it was negative.
So for those who do not know what a mammogram is, Cynthia, what is a mammogram?
It's like an X-ray of the breast.
Okay.
So when I sent the report to the doctor, he wasn't convinced, just as I was not. So he asked that I do biopsy. Biopsy, they would pull a needle through your breast to take some tissue to the for autopsy.
Okay.
So they would see what's wrong.
Okay.
And I always say that I think God loves me more than anybody else.
I like that.
Because God just puts angels in places for me. I never knew this doctor anywhere. I have never seen him.
Okay.
But he was just amazing. He would just come. I wouldn't join the queue. He would just say, I'm interested in your story.
Okay.
So he did the biopsy himself. He said he wasn't convinced. He did the second one. Then I told him that I was not going to come back. He said, oh boy. So the report took a very long time. He'd always call. Doctors have so much on their hands that they wouldn't even recognize you the next time you go there. But he was always calling. Reports number. Reports number. So he took the number, called them himself and to check. Finally, the report came. Then he was still not convinced. He said, let's go and do ultrasound biopsy. The first biopsy was just pull the needle through the breast and take a tissue.
Okay.
The ultrasound, they will do a scan.
Okay.
And then spots where there is a problem or they think there is a problem and then take a tissue for diagnosis.
Okay.
So finally the results came. I went for it. Before I took the result even to the doctor, I just opened it and then read it. Even though I didn't understand, I just Googled it. Thanks to Google.
Google knows everything. Ask Google.
So I Googled it and found out. I was shattered. I was devastated.
So when was this? Last year?
That was last year, November.
November, okay.
I didn't know what to do. I went with my brother. Then I sent the report to my sister before taking it even to the doctor.
Okay.
So I sat in front of the doctor, surgical ward 2, in front of the ward. He just said we would have to do a surgery immediately. I wept. So the doctor.
Okay. So the doctor suggested that a quick surgery was the way out.
Yeah.
And all this happened in November.
Yeah.
After one test after the other, and all these things happen. We'll be right back. So forgive me, I forgot to tell you what the topic for discussion was. I'm still here and I thrived. And this is Cynthia's story. She's telling us what she went through, the phases, the blues, the disappointment. Her words just pierced me that you will just have to get a surgery ASAP. And so, are we go? Can we go on?
Yeah.
All right. So let's go on.
So I called my sister,
Okay.
and she said, "Of course, intimembra."
Okay.
And I said, "No, let's just wait." At that time, my sister was not in Ghana.
Okay.
So, well, there are some friends who would be there for you.
So how many people did you tell outrightly, apart from your brother and your sister? Who was the next person who was privy to this information?
Just those people. And a
Okay.
sister who is in the office.
Okay.
So I spoke with her, and you know this kind of thing, when you tell people, it's something else. So when I told her I was going to have the surgery, she said, "Oh, you remember Mpaye?" And introduced me to some people who were praying with me, and it was like, doctors ne crampo, kind of thing. So trying to advise me not to do the surgery. So I decided that, well, I know the God I have trusted in. God is never late.
Yeah.
He is always on time.
Always on time.
He will never put me to shame. So if it is his will, let it be done.
Never in his past tense of never. How do you know the past tense of never? It's never. So he will never put you to shame. Yeah.
So I was getting prepared for the surgery.
Okay.
Then it went into December.
Okay. So November, December. Okay.
Yeah. So the doctor told me that, well, in December there are a lot of activities, there are a lot of emergencies, so we don't normally do surgeries if it's not emergency.
Okay.
So it will either be in first week in January, or a weekend.
Okay. So how was the Christmas like?
Well, I had to be myself because I didn't know how to tell my mother. Up till now, my mother is not aware of what is going on. All that she knows is that, well, I had to take some lump out of my breast. That's all.
Okay. So at what point is it prudent to have a surgery? Is it when it's worse, or they think that is the best option out? So yours, was it like early detection or was late?
I was told it was stage 2.
So okay.
So, well, I think stage 2, you'd gone from stage 1 to stage 2. But early detection saves life, they always say.
Okay.
And I just don't know how it all started, because I have done this thing every year.
So you were health conscious. So you just randomly go to the hospital?
Yes, and I check every time.
Wow.
And I was taught how to do the self-examination, so I do that every morning. That's how come I noticed a lump. Yes. Yeah. Then I realized that there was a change.
Okay.
So I went to the hospital.
So you were conscious of your body?
I am
very.
So the doctor told me that if I'd have to do it at a weekend, I'd have to get the anesthetics to come. I didn't know any anesthetic. So how was I going to do it? My sister says, well, even if you have to pay, he will do so.
Okay.
So a friend opted to go to look for one anesthetist for us, which she did. God is always good.
Amen.
Well, the person came. We didn't even know how much they were going to charge us. I was on my way to Kolibu because I was asked to do the surgery on a Saturday.
Okay.
Which I think was 28th or so in December. And then on my way on Friday, the doctor called me. Now, and I said, oh, I'm sober. Where do he? I said, around Abusuakai. Where did he? I said, no. And you made the over bra straight
surgery.
Yeah, be surgery. No.
Wow.
Just like that.
Who was with you in the car?
My sister.
Your sister, okay. So,
yes, she did.
Okay.
So,
and what was going through your mind? Where did the
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just said, Jesus, take the wheel. I just said that, and we went there. Everything was done. I was prepared, and then I was on the stretcher. My sister was with me going to the theater. Then they said, I said, "Na crying yet? Surgery. Why this? Yeah, anesthetic. So you know, a whole lot of things."
All the comments, right?
Yeah. I was just lying there looking at them. Then the anesthetic, the senior, or the I don't know how they called it, came. He met my sister and said, "Linda, where are you with her?" Guess who it was?
Small world.
Small world.
It'd be nice,
This guy was my sister's Bible studies leader in church.
Wow.
So, what we were going to pay, just like that. So I would say, for me, God was putting angels just in places where I needed them.
Okay.
So all those who said they were not ready to do it, they just started coming around. And then the anesthetist said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll handle it."
Okay. Your sister's friend?
Yes. So I had the boss himself handling it.
Sharp.
And I had done surgery before, so I know
What
how
surgery was that?
fibroids.
Okay.
So I know how pain they manage it.
Were you always like a healthy person?
I think so.
Prior to this?
Oh yeah. Well, once in a while I would have some headaches. I would get into Christmas, I would have some blackouts because of the nature of my work. So one doctor told me that, well, with fibroids, it's when you are stressed out. He was trying to explain. So then I had to do the surgery.
Okay.
Then I did it. So after that, I thought I was well. Then when I was getting well, I had some shingles all over. After the shingles, that was when I noticed I had a lump.
Okay.
Well, so I had the surgery on 27th December 2019. And then I had such amazing doctors and nurses all put in place for me.
Okay.
Well, I was discharged, managed, and this doctor, Dr. Agbuado,
Okay.
he was so amazing.
Okay.
So finally I was well.
Okay.
Then I was told that we'd have to continue with treatment.
All right. So on the treatment bed, so which breast was
The right breast.
the right? Okay. And then after that,
So, well, before that they said, a doctor said, "Oh, well, we'll have to cut the breast." So
okay.
the doctors came and said, "Well, we won't cut it." So they took out the lump or whatever it was. So that was it.
Okay.
So I was transferred to radiotherapy.
What happens at the radiotherapy department?
That's where you have the chemo, the radiation, and all that. So
those who machines.
exactly.
So how was chemo for you? I heard chemo can be terrible. I know. Can you walk us through?
Yeah. So
You're doing well, Charlie.
So I was supposed to start chemo.
Okay.
It was delaying.
So what's the purpose of chemo?
Well, they said, from what I know, it kills the cells
Okay.
that's capable of letting cancer come back.
Okay.
So in some instances, they would rather let you do the chemo before the surgery, or whatever.
Okay.
Depending on what the doctors decide.
Okay.
So one of the doctors I met at surgical took my case to the tumor board because, well, they have so many things I don't even understand. They said I was HER positive. So if you are HER positive, there are some drugs you have to take, there are some drugs you don't have to take, and a whole lot. So they had to take my case to the tumor board. So I went there. Then I had to do some tests. Then I noticed that they'd said my immune system wasn't good enough to start the chemo.
Okay.
The doctor said, well, so I had to wait to boost my immune system.
Okay. So what were you doing?
Well, they would ask you to eat well. There are some foods that you'd have to be eating. And, well, so later the doctor said, well, it's taking too much time. So instead of going through the chemo before the radiation, let's do the radiotherapy before the chemo.
Okay.
That was in February into March. So during the lockdown, radiotherapy was done every single day, Monday to Friday.
So you go to
Kolebu every day.
Every day.
Every day.
What's the period between which you have your radio? How long does it last? What's the duration?
It's just about maximum 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. So they put you in a machine?
No, they will lie you down on a bed.
Okay.
And then the machine would just go round. So they'll position the machine in such a way that wherever the problem is, that's where the machine is.
Okay.
So
is it painful?
it's not painful. It's just like X-ray.
Okay.
So
yeah, anything painful.
Well, pain. I have been through a lot of pain.
Tell me about
God sustained me. Well, so I came. I had to do they had to give me a chit because of the lockdown. So when the police stops you, you just show it.
Okay.
And they allow you to go. So every day for a month. I finished it. Then I had to do the chemo.
Mr. Kwa, was there a point that you just look at that sheet and like, today I'm not going?
There were times I fed up.
Yeah.
Well, because you hear things like, oh, cancer, you know, that kind of thing. Then, but I also had people who would say that, you know this person, you know that person, you know this person. Cancer is just like somebody with diabetes. You have to you manage it. They are alive. You will live your life. So my catechist would come whenever the test is bad. He said,
please, for my listeners, Cynthia is the church secretary. Hey, Cynthia, please give your church Oh, there's a comment. Okay, so do I take that?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So Asiakwa says Cynthia's voice is down. All right.
And that was before.
That was before. Thank you for the heads up. We've corrected that. So there's a comment from Alex, and he says, "Wow, such an inspiration. Thank you for leading the way. I have to ask, please, what has been your inspiration all this while?"
Well, my hope in God.
Okay.
God has been faithful.
Okay.
I remember when I came back from hospital one day when I had to start chemo.
Okay.
No, the radiation. It was difficult. All the things I have read about, all the things that I have heard, it was difficult. But I was just lying on my bed and I was saying that, God, into your hands I commit my spirit. It is you who came to die. He said that in your stripes you were healed.
Yeah.
So I believe that whatever it is, you know the end from the beginning. So you know that this is going to be a testimony and it will glorify your name alone. So I would just sleep. My sister would be worried. But there are times I'll just tell my sister, well, it is well.
Okay. So for those who are listening to us, Cynthia and her sister are like twins. They are just like twins, and that's her big sister.
Yes.
I mean, Cynthia would put pictures on her update, and almost every time it's just saying thank you to her sister. Interesting sister. All I see are her pictures. Yeah. In the last time we were in the house, she had gone out, and almost all the things I have heard is from Cynthia. She speaks highly of her sister, and for me, if there is any greatest gift from where I sit now, I can say Cynthia ever benefited from being on earth is a gift of a sister.
Yeah.
So shout outs to your sister.
Yeah.
Shout outs to her. Maybe one of these days we'll have her in the studio share her bit of how it is like just being there for your sister. I mean, this is it, when you just offer yourself as a living sacrifice.
Exactly.
for the life of another person. That's the definition of who a sister is to Cynthia. Cynthia, can we move on? Is there a point that you knew you were just going to die?
Yeah.
Did you ever prepare a will?
No.
Did you ever call a family meeting? Did you ever call a family meeting and say, there me one shall me Matthew? Did you ever?
I didn't, but there were times I felt I was not going to wake up the next morning.
Okay.
And there are times I'll just say that there are so many things we take for granted. The fact that we wake up every morning is just a miracle. There were times that I was in so much pain during the radiation. I couldn't lift up my hand. If I sit, my sister would have to help me get up. There were times even wearing my own dress was a problem. So the first time in a very long time I was able to wear my dress, it was a testimony.
Wow.
The first time I was able to go into the bathroom and take a bath myself, I was sitting down there and I was telling my sister, there are so many things we take for granted.
Yeah.
I remember one night I was getting up from a chair to go to bed and I was just crying because I was in so much pain I couldn't even stand up. My sister had to help me. My nephews, little boys in the house would come.
Astronauts.
Oh yes, they were so supportive. They would come. Auntie, me massage you nine mouth. Auntie, me say your mouth. Auntie, uncle walk. Why? You know, because it was so difficult even to get up. And this little boy would see that I was in so much pain, so he would offer to help.
Okay, so there's a comment here. This is from Kwabna Suma, and he says that we thank God for your life. You complete this process.
Amen.
Amen. So
I finished with the radiation or the radiotherapy. Still, God put angels in there for me.
Okay.
Then I started the chemo.
Okay.
And you should go to Kolebu and see the number of people. I understand we have only 2 centers in Ghana, Konfanoche and Kolebu. So all over, both children and adults. So there are times I would go, and whilst I sit in pain, I'll see somebody and I'll just say, thank you, God, for my life.
Even in your state?
Yes.
There's one thing I wanted to ask. The bills.
Very expensive.
The bills.
But my sister, once again, was very supportive. Very, very supportive. She told me, Akuz, if there's something you'd have to worry about, it shouldn't be about money.
Okay.
So she was in every aspect, my sister was there for me.
Okay.
So I started the chemo. And the first day it was difficult. Very, very difficult. I can't eat. You know, you have sores in your mouth. You would throw up anything that you would eat. I don't know how to explain that feeling unless you've been through it.
Yeah.
So, but you still need to boost your immune system for the next chemo, and it was every 3 weeks.
So you dreaded chemo?
Whenever it's time for me to go, it was difficult. But well, what would you do?
Oh, right. It was difficult, but what do you do? And that is the part that gets me thinking. There are a lot of things that are difficult for us.
Very.
But sometimes we just have to keep our head up.
Yeah.
And go through it. Before we started the show, I was just discussing something with Cynthia about my job issues a month back. And she was not privy to the information. And anytime she watched my update, say, oh, boy, life. And then I tell her that, if you don't add life to it. But you are listening right now and you are thinking. You know the bit that struck me about, even when you wear your clothes, you take it for granted. Like there are times I'm going somewhere and I will change myself like 15 times. I've not settled on what I want. And like it's stress, like we show we know where you. And we just take it for granted that oh, it's just me, I'm not settled on what I want.
Yeah.
But you just mentioned that even when you wear your clothes, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
There's things we take for granted. It's a Monday and we are here with Cynthia sharing her journey. The title of today's discussion is that I'm still alive. I thought I thrive, I'm still alive. And this is her just walking us through the journey, something that I was not even privy to. So till date, your mom is aware?
No.
Why? Hey, Cynthia. What did? Why did you keep mommy?
Well, you know this kind of thing. Hey, me bring a cancer. I remember when I had the surgery, I just told her that me call a surgery and no me lamp. So and when she came, I would see her in the morning. She would just be sitting there. She would cry and cry and cry. So I didn't want to worry her. Yeah. And there was nothing she could do about it.
Yeah. So why add on to her worry?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just said that, well, and my sister was telling me that I could say empire na me bo nyina ne say ho beto na ye beka say na owu ye beka say and I one can na ye mo bi o dro.
That's one. That one. But you know the story you shared about the early stage when you discussed with somebody and said the doctors are, you know, so in the midst of even settling whether you are going for a surgery or keeping to, so why do you think honestly people do not even tell anybody about it?
It's about one, stigma.
Okay.
Two, what people would say. I mean, you know that this is what you have to do, but you'd have people telling you so many other things. Oh, be drug crabby to me as and from what I know about cancer, it spreads.
Yeah.
So it's better you deal with it once and for all than sorry fear. I so much believe in prayers. I so much believe in God. But God gave people wisdom. God gave the doctors wisdom. So in his own wisdom, he got people to understand the disease, to deal with it.
Yeah.
So as much as we pray, we should also seek medical attention.
Okay. This is church secretary. So you are away from job, and you are just confined.
Yes, and thankfully COVID was there.
Okay.
It was people died out of COVID, which was bad, but for me it was a blessing.
Sharp.
Because I had my sister.
Share your blessings. The corona blessings.
Oh yes, I had my sister with us, with me, because I was thinking if my sister were not here, how was I going to go to the hospital? We had to leave the house like 5 a.m. And then we would have to go to join the queue.
It's a queue.
Yeah, a lot of people. The first day I went, I just met a doctor who had closed, and he said, I was waiting for you. I didn't know this doctor from anywhere. So he just took my folder, went to where they do the radiotherapy. The lady was closing. And the doctor said, oh, Bomodi and Sanwako.
Wow.
Then the doctor went to sit in his car and went. So he was God just asked him to wait for me. And this lady just booked me for the next day.
Okay.
When I went, they were having issues with the setup. So I had to wait for a long time. Then later the lady told me that he would give me a time to come. Okay. So I was going in the afternoons. So when I go, it's about 10 minutes. Okay. But it was difficult. They call it radiation stress. Okay. So you'd come back very tired, extremely tired. It's just to go to sleep. So I come and I just go to sleep. I eat and I go to sleep. Then I had to do my chemo. Okay. I went for the first time. It was very difficult. Very, very difficult.
I like the stress on the very difficult.
It was difficult.
It's like when your spirit can't get it right. Yeah. It's just like living this. That's what it is. Well, you know, there was this time we wanted to go and visit Cynthia. And she would give us anytime we've scheduled. She's like, no, I'm not around. Anytime scheduled. And finally Emilia was like, okay, Emilia is also another friend, and we're three parties there. We're chilling together. So Emilia was like, oh, she said she will go for this thing, she's not around. But the last time Emilia spoke to me, and she said something like, she said when she comes back from that session, she's totally drained and there's nothing she can do. Then I came back home with, God, why? Were there God by moments?
Oh yes. So there was a time I was just sitting down, and so my life was about, let me live a life as if there is no tomorrow. Okay. Because I knew that there was going to be a time I would not wake up. Okay. So I was sitting down praying one time, and I was just like, why me, God? And the voice said, if not you, who?
Please say that again.
So I just said, why me, God? And the voice said, if it's not you, who? So I told my sister that I don't know, but something, I don't know, maybe I'm not being thankful enough to God. That's why I had that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just said to myself that, well, I know the God I have put my trust in. He would, whatever he started with me, he would surely complete it.
Okay.
So I went to the hospital for my next chemo, and they had to change the medication because I don't know, I think it was too much. Then, well, before that, I used to have very beautiful long hair.
Hey, that's one. Please, Mami, I'm in Casa story. So Cynthia has hair. It's not like I'm exaggerating. And you know, she hardly braids.
Yeah.
She won't braid. On bonity, she doesn't fix weave because her hair is long. And when she goes to those nice salons, it's only a year. Oh man. And there's one thing I've not told you too. Cynthia is very curvy. And flat stomach. So now, if you are watching us, you can see that the hair is gone. But the flat tummy and the hips there are intact. But the hair part, I mean, it's not like me. I don't have hair. But Cynthia was like, she had a lot of hair.
Yeah.
And that was the first thing you had to deal with. Losing your hair.
Yes. So I went to the doctor. The doctor said, "Oh, your beautiful hair. Remember that it's going to go off." And well, I said, well, it was difficult. You had to go through counseling and all that.
Okay, so you're doing counseling alongside.
Yeah.
So when did the hair started? When did it start falling off?
Well,
like baby, and
my sister told me it would be beautiful and cut it.
Okay.
So I had to cut my hair.
That was a smart one.
Yeah, I had to cut my hair short, and I put some dye in it.
Oh, dye, you crazy?
Oh yeah. So I wanted to have the best out of it. I didn't want it to weigh me down. Because yes, I know bonsameni aje. The purpose ne say obema ora ho. Obema obesi wani je ho kwan.
Steal your joy.
Oh yes, but I told myself that okuyenda enso ye
sharpest.
Enti no manije obama me ayare de na so manije de
you can't steal it.
So I went to a very good salon, had a good haircut.
We'll show you the pictures. Not today.
And I dyed it.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. It was kind of like blonde beside.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I saw it. It was lovely.
And I went with my mom. I was a bit sad because my mother didn't know anything about it.
Yeah. Of course, I didn't know.
My mother also had very long hair. Said, "Oh, me they life." And then I had to dye it and said, "Oh, what dye with me?" And my hair is like
soft, scaly like that. Yeah.
So I had to do that at least. I felt one that's to protect my mother.
Okay.
So with that cut, if my hair starts going off, I would just say that life.
Okay.
I didn't want it to be a shock to her.
Okay.
So we went to the salon together and had my hair cut. So my hair started coming off. My boys, so I had to put on scarf.
Yeah.
My nephew would come and tell them that they be no abaduku.
Hey, astronaut.
So they would always want to see why. They were so curious. And they were worried because I'm always in pain. Until then, he was worried.
New children with questions.
Oh yes,
endless ones.
So we had to.
Were you giving them answers?
Yes.
Okay.
Until you give him answers, he won't go. So I would say that okay. Why?
Sharp.
And then my mom pay mouth. Then he would come to pray every evening. He would come and my mom pay mouth. Why? Then he would come and pray.
Okay.
There are times when I am in pain. He said, "Auntie, so see you
yeah.
My mom pay mouth. Why?" Yeah. And yes, the pain would go.
It would go.
It would go. Some catch us say Yakupon tie me mpaibo into the oyare pefrem and I'm a mom pie man why.
Okay.
And then he would come and would pray with me.
Cynthia practically adores her nephew. So this is payback time.
Yeah.
I mean, for those of us who are close friends, we know she's made so many sacrifices for that boy. That's the brother's kid.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are times she will share with us, like, oh, so how, I mean, she'll be changing schools and doing this and buying them this and taking, like, don't you think you are pampering this boy way too much? Then it's like, oh, this is the best I can do.
Yeah.
And not knowing that you are planting a seed of concern. What was the shockest, if there's a word like that, experience you had with human beings, even in the process? People who left, people you thought could stick around a bit. Is there something that changed about your impression about?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So for me, I think I don't believe in money.
Oh, say that again, my listeners.
Money can, the love for human being, money cannot replace it. So you can give out money, you can give out anything, but to give out your time, it's sacrifice. So I cherish the times when people would come to visit. I think I remember the day yourself and Amelia when you came, I told them this is the first time I had friends. Because I was always in the house, and with COVID I was scared going out. So I would always be in the house. Yes, there are people who would call, and there are some people I thought they were friends, but there's remember why? And there are people who up till now had not even visited. And there are people who would not even call to check up, even though they know that I am sick. And there are times that I would like, these things are happening. I was a producer for a show, and I was telling a friend that now I'm a hosting program. No, their parents, I told them I was not well. Up till now, nobody had even called to us. Oh, what is saying? It is or something. So I realized that at some time in life, it's what people would get from you. That's when they are close to you. But there are some who are also genuinely friends. They are true friends. Even if they can't come, they will call to check up. And those are the people I call friends.
Are there people you are cutting off?
Oh yes.
Are there people you have deleted numbers?
I have not deleted numbers, but I see them as people who came into my life to teach me a lesson. So I have not deleted them. I will not call them friends. But if they call, yes, I will answer. We will talk, but they are not people I can call friends.
This period do you more closer to God?
Oh yes.
What is the best experience you ever had, like one-on-one with God, and you know that Charlie, God has visited me?
So you know that there are times I would be lying there. I remember one time I was in bed. I was sleeping actually, and I felt I was dead. I saw myself dead, lying down, and when Nigerian movies, and I'm telling no be now I saw not anybody.
Oh yeah, that one. I saw body feel more
exactly. I went into that period. I experienced that I was dead. So I was, and at that time, painkillers. I was going through so much pain, and I was not supposed. When you are going through chemo, you are not supposed to take any medication. You are not supposed to eat certain things. You are not supposed to do certain things. So, and I was going through much pain. So I was there when my father is late. And we were very close to my dad. So in that moment, my father visited when I was dead. I felt I was dead. And he mentioned a drug that I was supposed to go to buy. So when I was there when my mother was calling me. At that time my mother was around. So I made she thought I was, so she touched me, I shook me. That was when I came back.
Yeah.
So I told her, I said, you know. And there were times that you know that everything was lost.
Yeah.
And you hear a voice telling you that there is hope.
Okay.
So there were times that I would be sleeping. I mean, at a point in time I was not even I couldn't pray. I gave up.
Okay.
But in the midst of it, I had a doctor friend who called me one time and says, "Hey Cynthia, but life, and she's also Akusia."
Okay.
So she said, "But life, but life." I know what, I am a doctor, and so I know what by now the doctors have said, but I can give you testimonies, and she's a Catholic.
Okay.
So she told me,
shout out to the doctor.
Oh yeah, Dr.
Okay.
So she said, "Oh, minim father bia. Oh no, said your life crampo no your father and so you know." So she will be encouraging me, sending me sermons to listen. And she told me one thing that struck me about Job.
Okay.
She told me that God would want to use me. Or the me be Janenum said or the Job Janenum no.
That is
upon some call beside Job Nyankopon say na wa hu akwa Job.
Yeah.
God knew who Job was.
Yeah.
And or the Job Janenum.
Yeah.
Intino, which I should build my faith Nyankopon ed me be Janenum.
I think I like this one. No, like we've heard the Job story over and over again, but the part that's Odube Janem.
Oh yes,
it is for Odube Flexi. That Cynthia, you see what happened to her. She was still faithful. So for all those listening right now, going through something, some loss, some pain, some challenge, some difficulties, not like Cynthia's one. Maybe we'll see any dear crown is slow. We'll say, hey, na me dear kitwa na me ye did no. Know that there's a crown awaiting you.
Oh yes.
And the crown is that everybody will see and know that Charlie. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
So welcome back. This is Miss Cynthia Dakwa, aka Swenny. So I was in the studio, and this morning, as I said, I am the one listening to the story. Sometimes the table has to turn. There are times I come here like every Mondays and Wednesdays, and I tell my story, and it's humbling when you hear other people's story too. And I'm so grateful for all the comments that's coming in. People are encouraged. And all they need is that sometimes all we need is just a word of hope. And this morning you are just here to give us all the hope. Now let's go to Odubejane.
So I'm in Control. So when I was going through the chemo, my left arm was hurting. Means I couldn't lift my arm. I would go, and you know, when you go to the hospital, you don't have one doctor seeing you.
Okay.
They change them. So I was complaining. They would give me painkillers, but it was still not going. So I met one doctor, and I told her, and she said I'd have to do a test. So I did the test. You won't believe it. There was a spread.
Wow.
So I was in the doctor's
spread to the right
shoulder.
The right shoulder.
Yeah. So I was sitting in the doctor's office. She's such a sweet person, Dr. Dazi. So I was sitting in her office weeping, and she told me, "Cynthia, there is hope. Don't worry, there is hope."
So after all the chemo, the radiotherapy, the challenges, the difficulties, friends not checking up, your mother being in the dark, God boasting with you, that was more or less like the morale booster. There was a spread.
Yeah. So I was still going through chemo, so I had to go back to do another radiation. And well, to the glory of God, I don't know, but I think I am fine, and I feel much better even than before.
Okay.
If you listen, me who cry your first.
So as I was coming to the studio, Cynthia got here before me, and October, I had told my listeners that it's Pink Month. We are doing all the awareness we can so that people get examined and all that. So I'll be wearing pink too. I just wore pink the first Monday and the rest of the days I was just wearing anything. So this way I was just thinking, I'm like, I made a promise to all my listeners that October is Pink Month, and I loved it when you shared your pictures. Do you know the number of questions I had? What happened to her? Is that not Cynthia? I'm like, okay. But I asked for permission because I knew that it was a story I shared, but I needed your permission to also share it on my status. How were you confident enough to share those pictures? What gave you that confidence?
Well, I'll say the grace of God.
Okay.
Because it's by the grace of God that I am here thus far. He's brought me thus far just by grace. I didn't know how I was going to survive the next day. So it's been a whole year.
Okay.
And I'll always say thank you to my sister.
Okay.
My sister gave me the encouragement.
Okay.
Friends would encourage me.
Okay.
Emilia would call and say, see, Hedy. It is well.
Okay. Yeah.
Maxine would call. There were times I'll call and ask him, "Peny?"
Oh. And then so listeners, don't be please. I can't hear myself. It's quite faint. So there are times I don't know. I won't tell me me bang a song. There are times I just feel like I want to do things, and I'll just post a song. There's like open, and there's this song Cynthia would always make requests to. Then I'll be very honest that I don't really know the words to the song, but it's the chorus that I know. But then we just say send it anyway. I've still not a choir master, but I know it's a song she really likes, and I'll sing this. Come on, guarantee, oh yeah, hey, pitch me a high, my brain. Come on, guarantee, oh yeah, one shy and so, oh sit never, I listen no, Amenina, Moni Yankopana yo. Yetiasia elenadum ayeyiseno ahana betwano azayinarehu oboye huban insoshe yinarehu ochichaji yeno amenina munyinya kupona yo yetiasia elenadum the song she would always ask me to sing, and I don't know why were you always asking that I send you the song.
I don't know, I just love that song. There are so many things, Maxine, we take for granted. We think that it's automatic here. We'd have to wake up. It is just by grace. There are times my sister will say, this too shall pass. My sister will just come and tell me, of course, and you say, yeah. When I get up and I had to take so many drugs, it's in a box by my bedside. When I wake up and I see it, it's enough to get you full.
Yeah.
But my sister will just tell me, Enka Hoda. There were times I had to wake up at dawn to take some drugs. You'd have to take it on time every 6 hours. So my sister,
that's a Muslim prayer.
My sister would put on her alarm, and then when it's time, she'll just come to wake you up, and then you take your medication. But you're not dumb.
Yeah.
And I would want to say it to the whole world enti meka mo bia ti se onyame
Yeah.
I mean, if I die and there is no heaven, I have not lost.
Please say that again.
So in the heaven ni ho me moka,
That's it.
because it's something I have not paid for. I mean, just the love of God. He's giving all for us.
Yeah.
And what do we also give out in turn? Just, I don't know. God is so good.
You know, listeners, I honestly took a lot of inspiration from Cynthia, especially those times when she was very healthy. You know, we all do church, Jojoba. I'm sorry, now. And you know, I just remembered seasons and times. Cynthia would go to church, had to give announcements, make weed prayers, and all that. And for that period, 2019 latter part and 2020, when you were going through that period, like, there was a way be also
Yeah.
if you have time to work for God, just do it.
Oh, yes.
And I remember all those times you will be shuffled between the studio, church, I mean all that, and I'm like, this is it. And God gives us time to work.
Yeah.
And so that is it. And I look at Cynthia now. Have you started going back to church?
Not yet.
Not yet. But I'm sure that when Cynthia goes back to church, she'll work again.
I will.
She will, because I mean, it's enough testimony to know that the Lord has preserved. There's a part we have not discussed. You know how it is like when you are young, you've not married, you've not given birth, and cancer didn't know that you were.
Hey, Asemo.
What did you hear? Bromie.
So when I was going to start chemo, it was like, hey, chemo near so yeah, wongo, and I won't worry, yeah, and I won't yeah, and I will call chemo, and I won't go. So a whole lot. So I decided not to tell anybody.
Okay.
Because what has our work got to do? If I would live and not war, there are a lot of people
And not worry.
Our year won't take you to heaven. Our year is not the ticket to heaven. Yeah, I'm worrying, so we will go heaven now. Well, I don't know, but I don't think say you're worrying.
They say when you go there, no, we'll be singing throughout.
Yes,
we are all busy. Yeah, two of us now saying they say your wife is your friend, crowd say your family. So those are the things. And I know people are not going for all the necessary surgeries because worry. Is there a point that somebody decided to arrange marriage for you?
Well,
or you saw something like me worry 3 months be na minji many kakrana mi kwana meko. You know that funny ideas. You just want to live in the moment. I mean, I watched a movie like that. The lady was this about, she just got married just for the short period, enjoyed marriage like 4 months, 5, then she died.
Well, that didn't come to mind.
Okay, but you didn't have any pressure from other people to even think of settling even in the period?
No.
Okay.
Not that. Well, I don't know, but I didn't give that chance.
What did?
I didn't give that chance.
Yeah.
Well, I felt that, and what I was always saying, that my hope is built on nothing less but Jesus Christ.
Okay.
So, Humbeto.
Asachibebo. Or how dream baba. And let you call madam. Thou become mamio. Thou become mamio. Thou name namti binsu. Yesu amenya nui. Mijidi mi enkunundifu. Hallelujah. Amen. On top of your head, 4 or 5 lessons that you have learned, hope that you have held on to, inspiration that kept you going, something that you want to tell somebody in summary.
Okay, so I would say that
what life has taught you.
Yeah. God. It's been God since day one.
Okay.
He's carried me through till now.
Okay.
It's just by grace. We should put our trust, our hope just in him. Because I mean, I always say that if not Unyamia, Senkanyamia, where would I be at this time? All through this journey, God placed angels just there for me. There were times that people would come and they'll be struggling, and I'll just go through like that. And I didn't know anybody. All that I knew was I knew God.
Okay.
So when I am leaving my house in the morning, I'll just say, God, I commit the day, order my steps. Let me fall into good hands. And surely God placed angels there for me.
Okay.
There were times that you would go and these nurses and doctors, and I feel that they are overwhelmed with the number of people
They are dealing with.
Yes. But it's just so smooth. I met a nurse. He said, "Oh,
Okay.
so whenever I am going, before I go, she would go to pick my folder. I mean, I didn't know this lady from anywhere, but just put in place. I have finished by the grace of God with chemo.
Okay. So chemo is done?
Yes.
Oh wow. It's part time.
Oh, yeah.
So once you are done, there won't be any chemo again?
Yeah, but I still go every 3 weeks. That I will be going tomorrow.
Okay.
There is some medication I would have to take for 1 year.
Oh, easy cry.
Yes, God is my strength.
Sharp. So there's a comment. We'll take 2 other comments, right? Dominic, should we take the comment?
Yeah, let's take
okay. So this is so from Kwabna Suma, the spirit of a fighter. Okay. And this is Domri Kitchen. This will they give us food? This far by so this far by grace. Thank you all for your comment. You are still here. This morning I am with the lovely Miss Cynthia Dakwa, and she's a friend and she's been God to me personally. And I just like, Cynthia, do you mind sharing your story? One pupuniti. She was the one who even called yesterday to check up and to say, Maxine, can we do this? And this is what we do on the show. The whole idea of me wanting to sit every Monday and Wednesday is to share stories, because you might never know. Just a word you put out there will go a long way to make somebody's life better. It's always in the hope that we know that we are created for greater things. I think I like that. And so when he's preparing things for us, he takes it time.
Yeah.
Was there a point that you felt like you were laughing stock?
Well, not really, but I felt that people actually did say that it's one problem or one sickness to the other. So I was like, at a point in time I really didn't want to go anywhere, because I didn't want people to be asking me. Even now that I have started work, when I go to work, I just stay in the office, because that kind of thing. It makes me sad.
Okay, it does. But I like the fact that you are not even wearing a wig. Okay. So this is from someone. Okay, let me read this with you. Okay, the things you take for granted, someone else is praying for.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much for that comment. The things you take for granted, someone is praying for.
Yeah.
So there are things now. Do a to-do list of the things you have taken for granted.
So many things. The fact that now I'm sorry, there are times even timing. Timing in bed was grace. So now to me, when I wake up, there's a certain way I'd have to even go into bed, because if I shift a little, it's painful.
Yeah.
So the things that I was telling you, when I had to wear my dress, it was the best. There are times I can't wear dresses that are
zip.
I'd have to wear through like that. I'd have to wear it like this, because I can't lift my hand. So the first time in a long while when I was able to lift my hand, it was a miracle.
You were looking good. Like you are looking good.
Thank you.
Hips intact. Stomach intact. When when I saw that pink picture, I was like, damn, I'm looking good. And that's the part we forget. We forget the things that makes you still. Maybe it's your hair that is gone,
but I was told it's coming back.
Yeah,
and I really don't mind. I think I would even prefer to keep a short hair.
You see, the things we get attached to.
Yeah.
When they are off, you realize that no, you shouldn't even. Let me so. But you get worried when people look at you some way. Like
Well, I used to.
You used to, yeah.
Yes, but I realized that. So what?
But you're confident.
My mother once told me that what will be a nenimu yefena we shed mask when enimda. So you the media be happy and blow that one out.
Yeah.
So that you wouldn't be intimidated by the negatives that you have.
That's it.
I took inspiration from that, because I remember I went out one day and people were like, oh, then I won't share wig. And I said, well, what will be an enemy if I share wig? Yeah, so I said I wouldn't get intimidated. Personally, I don't like wearing wigs. My sister went out there to buy me whatever, about 1,000 something. I wore it just once.
You don't like it?
When I wear it, my head aches. I am not used to that. I don't braid my hair.
Yeah.
Because my hair, when I do that, my head aches.
Yeah.
So I always want to be me.
This is you.
And people who know
take it or leave it.
Yes. So I just want to be me.
Yeah.
I don't want to pretend. This is me. I have cancer. Or I am managing cancer. So what? What has changed? You might be dealing with diabetes. Another person might be dealing with pressure or some other sickness I don't even know. So what? You might be going through some kind of problems. So what? God wants to tell a story about you. I mean, there are some times that you go through so that when you're share with him.
That's it.
He's able to carry us through. That's why he allowed us to live another day. So when we wake up every morning, when you are able to see another day, it is by grace and it's for a purpose. Say onyame ani onyam ebededi.
Sa say onyam ma ewe wade nsem no. Ewe ye odwan no dia no ebededi. We'll be right back. Hey. Okay, so it's Random Thought with Maxine. This morning's edition is quite a humbling one. We get to hear all the inside filler about how Miss Dakwa went through diagnosis with cancer, breast cancer to be precise, took a day at a time, fought all the challenges, still fighting. She has not given up, because for whatever it is, there's a reason why God brought this one along her way. Whatever it is, God wants to boast with us. Mega. It's not chochopwa boasting, mega boasting. So please keep hope alive. I have learned a lot. Trust you have too. And I'll be bringing her more often. Don't worry, the next time we'll talk about cancer. We'll talk about something that is between the two of us. She knows. There are things we cannot tolerate. I mean, knowing her, Cynthia in her element, all the love. And that is it. It's a reason why she's going through all this. God knows that she has strength that she's not even aware of. That many of them are me and Cassie say, "We Bob na." I didn't know what we saying here, but she also got you. Who else? Yeah. And so that's it. Trust you've enjoyed this morning's edition. I have to. Dominic, thank you so much for the support. Maybe also, changing your map. And we'll see if we have some comments or pick those comments, and then we'll be good to go. All right. Guess everybody is quiet and soaking the thing. Thank you so much for your time. Since our last words. Today they are the baby. Today is a whole buffet. We've cried small, we've laughed small, we've talked deep matters, we've learned. At least you've explained to us chemo, something, we know radiation, we know mammograph, we know all that. And finally we've given hope. Last hope, and let's go.
Yeah, just keep hope alive. God is never late. His time is always the best. He's always on time. We are human, so we might think that it's difficult.
Okay.
But it's another day. We see another day because God has given us the strength.
Yeah.
Just keep on moving on and keep hope alive.
Okay. So I'll share my last word with you. You know, apart from music, I like TV. And I like TV. And yet TV baby, sir. But when I get an advert that's catchy. So growing up, I used to like the Glyco advert.
Yeah.
Glyco pushing you for. I don't know why I like that Glyco advert, but it was funny that from nowhere the man was just having a smooth way. The one is and you know, as a child, you are funny because he's funny. Now I've seen a latest version of the advert now. The man is just driving a nice, I think, sports car, washing his space. Then the tire hits some stone and then off. He's just moving down the cliff and that's it. And that's what life presents us. There are times it's just a smooth ride.
Yeah.
You are minding your own business, just going about your normal duties. Then from nowhere, just like the man was having a nice ride, something hits your tire and you are off. But there's always a cushion at the end. The man didn't anticipate tissue, you know. Like, I thought I was going to die. And that's what life presents to us sometimes. But there's always, this is not Glyco. Jesus is the cushion.
Yeah.
You will cushion, you know, it will feel like you are falling so hard that you break into pieces that just like Humpty Dumpty couldn't be fixed. You can't be fixed. But see, the cushion is not Ashwin. It's not latest. It's Master Jesus. Hold on. Please hold on. I can sit here and be yabbing. It is easier said than done.
Yeah.
When somebody asks you to hold on, you are like, you don't know what it is. There's nothing to hold on. But can you just hold on a little bit? Because Jesus got you covered.
Sure.
Thank you so much for your time. We'll be back on Wednesday with one juicy topic like that. And thank you so much for always connecting with us. Your airtime, your data, the comments. It goes a long way to also motivate us to do better. And thank you, Miss Dakwa, for passing through. I've learned a lot. I like the Job one. So see, I'm not because it's juicy and it's meaty and it will take you. Oh, so there's a comment. Hey, let's comment. Please, can we have our comment? So this is from, I hope I get the name right, Adefas Adoma. Have really learned a lot, Miss Cynthia. May God give you more strength and bless you. Thank you, Peny Radio. Thank you so much, Adoma. So Miss Cynthia, this is thank you from Adoma. I'm sure that sometime when we leave there, they will send the comments. People listen. There are those who don't comment. We appreciate you too. And for all those who take time to listen, I know at time you go to YouTube, you just and subscribe, and you can always catch this also on YouTube. Random Thought with Maxine, and I'm sure leave your comment, anything to make the show better. Just let us know, and then we'll do same. Thank you so much, and I'm out of here. It's bye.